Good morning, everybody. It is 7 o'clock in the morning, and I just wanted to take you really quick through some exercises that I like to do first thing in the morning. You'll see these in my 10-day back challenge. It is at the link in the bio. You can sign up for free. It's 10 days of stretches and exercises to make sure that you are locking in that back before just going about your business. And if you are dealing with current back pain, that 10-day back challenge is going to get you on your way to starting to treat it, because the biggest thing about dealing with back pain is being consistent. Good morning, everybody. We are going to go through resisted knee flexion just to start locking in and tightening up that core, making you realize what needs to be working. We're going to do some glute bridge marching, some hip extension, and then a kneeling good morning. And like I said before, these are just 4 simple exercises that you can spend 5 to 10 minutes doing first thing in the morning if you are dealing with acute back pain, or if you have some chronic back pain that you're just like, you know what, I need to finally do something about it, because if you don't go in there and fix it, it's not going to just magically go away. All right, so we're going to start with the resisted knee flexion. I really like this one for people to just start feeling what needs to tighten up in order to protect your back. Okay, so we got a whole bunch of muscles. I don't need to go into all of that, but what you want to do is create pressure, right? You want to protect your spine with pressure built around it. Now, do you need to walk around all day long holding your breath because you're so tight? No. But should you have a minimal amount of bracing and some tension in your body at all times? Yeah, pretty much, especially if you're going to run around and pick up heavy things. So knowing how to create this pressure is really important. So we're going to lay down on your back, okay? Both knees bent. You're going to lift one knee up, and then you're going to push into your knee with your opposite hand. So you see here that I'm trying to just keep my knee directly over my hip, and then I'm just going to rest my head on the floor and then create pressure. I'm pulling in with my knee and I'm pushing out with my hand. Once I do that, you'll see that everything just starts to tighten up around here. Don't overthink it. Just apply that pressure, enough pressure that you can feel it, not enough pressure that it makes you hold your breath. I want you to try to breathe naturally as you're creating this pressure, okay? So we're just going to apply here and breathe naturally for about 20 seconds, okay? Make sure that everything stays in line. You don't want to drop this knee down. You don't want to wiggle your foot out like this. You want to make sure that everything is in line here, okay? So you'll apply the pressure about 20 seconds. Slowly release it. Make sure that you don't just go and kerplunk, okay? And then we'll lift up the other leg. Again, slowly apply the pressure. Hold it about 20 seconds, and then slowly release it again. You probably will notice that one side feels a little bit more natural or a little bit more comfortable than the other. Pay attention to that, right? All single leg or single arm or one direction rotating things, if they bark at you or if you notice something that feels better on one side than the other, you have to pay attention to that. That is part of a puzzle piece that we need to put together in order for you to start feeling good, okay? So that's the resisted knee flexion. About 20 seconds, slowly apply the pressure, slowly release it, slowly apply the pressure. You'll be resting your head. Slowly apply pressure and slowly release it. So now we're going to move on to the glute bridge marching, right? So now we're going to start using our glutes and we're going to start extending our hip up a little bit, okay? Hip extension, hugely important for counteracting all the sitting that we do. And you probably spent all night sleeping in like you were in the womb. What's that called? Fetal position, right? You probably spent all night sleeping in fetal position. So we want to undo some of that first thing in the morning, okay? If you want to start with just a regular glute bridge hold, that's wonderful. If you're a little bit more advanced or if you feel like you're ready, we're going to do glute bridge marching. So we're going to start with our feet directly underneath our knees, arms down by our side, palms down so that you can provide a little bit of stability. Get that pressure that you just built up in that resisted knee flexion. Get that pressure first, and then we're going to lift up through a comfortable range. Once you find a stable position for your hips, then we're going to slowly pick up one leg and then bring it back down. Okay, slowly shift weight, pick up the other leg, bring it back down. I'm emphasizing the slowly because the goal is to keep the hips and lower back completely still as you are then doing the marching. So if you go too fast,
You don't even give yourself a chance to feel whether you're slipping out of position or not. Okay, so we're going to lift up. Everything's tight here. Everything's tight here. And again, slowly picking up, putting back down, and alternating. Okay?
Like I said before, moving slowly is going to be incredibly important to make sure that you're doing it correctly. Okay? If you go too fast, you don't even understand if you're slipping out of position. You'll do that for about 6 reps each side, 4 to 6 reps each side. If you start falling apart and you can't get to that many reps, do less or go back to just holding those hips up in the air for about 20 seconds. Okay, so now we're going to move on to hip extension, and we're going to do this in a prone position. Okay, so now we're going to start working from basically the back of your neck all the way down to your heels. The goal here being that you are lifting up your legs only from your glutes. It's very difficult. So what I want you to do is actively push your hips down into the floor before you even think about lifting up your legs. Okay, so we're going to be in a prone position, means tummy down on the floor. I'm going to lift my head up just so that I can chat with you, but you'll be resting your head on the floor, okay? So you'll start in this position. Head resting on your hands, okay? So now what we're looking for here is tension all the way from the back of your neck to your heels. So what I want you to think about is really, really keeping everything nice and tight, okay? We're not just flopping around on the floor, okay? The goal here is to get your body tight and then to lift the legs up with intention from the glutes, from the hip, okay? So what I want you to do is squeeze. You're going to push your hips down into the floor so that we're tightening up all around the core and we are locking the hip into position. Then you're going to squeeze your legs as close together as possible, okay? So they might not touch, okay? We got thighs, we got tissue there. They might not touch, but I want you to try to squeeze them together. From there, we're going to push our hips down, squeeze your legs together, and then slowly lift your leg up off the floor. This is going to be a small range of motion. It should be a small range of motion if you're doing it correctly. If you find that you're just flopping up in the air, you're probably not doing it correctly, okay? We want to make sure that there's not a bend coming from the knee and that there's not an increased arch coming from the lower back, okay? So push your hips down, squeeze your legs together, slowly lift your leg up, okay? And you'll do this for about 4 to 6 reps as well, noting whether one side feels better than the other. If you get a sharp pain in your lower back, do not do this first thing in the morning. Do not do anything that elicits a sharp pain. Mild discomfort is okay. And we're talking about like 3 or 4 out of 10. Something that you're like, man, I mean, I notice it. But if it starts zinging at you and it's stabbing you and it's painful, that is not the move for you. And we need to find something that is less intense, okay? So prone hip extension, everything tight, hips shoved down, slowly lifting one leg and then the other. The last thing I'm going to do is a kneeling good morning, okay? I like to do these because it starts to incorporate you being more in an upright position. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kneel down. And this is the last of our 4 exercises for the morning. Kneeling down, hands across your chest, knees under where your hips would be, so they're not together, they're just in your normal stance. Hands across your chest, and then you're going to hinge at the hips. If the hips go back, the elbows go forward. So what I want you to do is reach the elbows forward and reach the hips back. You'll notice that I have a flat, neutral spine position. I'm not rounding out, and I'm also not excessively sticking my butt out, okay, so that I'm getting a big arch. From the top, we're going to try to find that tension that we found in the very first exercise that we did. Nice and tight, elbows, hands across the chest, bear down, and then push the hips back as you reach the elbows forward. Come up, and now this part's important, create tension. I want you to squeeze that butt, and I want you to push down, okay? Down into your bowels, right? Like, let's get really, really, really tight. Imagine I'm going to come punch you in the tummy. Poke yourself. Make sure that you are creating this pressure that you need in order to protect yourself. Again, down, come up, and then squeeze, all right? It's about starting to wake up your muscles and say, hey, the day is going, I need you to help me, okay? So we went through 4 exercises: resisted hip flexion, glute bridge marching, prone hip extension. Pay attention to that one. It is difficult, and if it is painful, you have something going on in your back, probably an extension intolerance, and you want to really, really pay attention to it. And then kneeling good mornings. Again, if these are painful and leaning forward seems scary to you, then we don't want to not do it, but we do want to find a point of entry that will allow us to start doing this, okay? All of these exercises should be able to be done with extreme comfort, with amount of ease, right? They should be fairly easy, and you should be able to do them, and you should do them very regularly. If you have acute pain, you should be able to do these. And if you are dealing or have dealt with chronic pain, you should make it a point to keep these into your routine fairly often. Sid Bass Fitness, I try to incorporate these into all my warm-ups, workouts, love it, such good stuff. Wonderful. Yes, it's such a great way, especially when you're warming up, right? You're starting to get your mind and your body into it. You might as well start doing something that's really good for it, right? And just little by little, you start feeling better, and then you're like, dude, I'm totally ready to work out. So I love that, and I love it first thing in the morning. What a great way to start your day. So if you are dealing with acute or chronic back pain, check out my 10-day back challenge. It is at the link in the bio. Please send this to anybody that you think would benefit. I'm going to start doing these regularly. Thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful day.